It's our pleasure to welcome back to the chair Rob Lees from Mortgage Choice Blue Mountains and Penrith. How are you, Rob?
I'm good. Very good, thank you. Yeah.
Looking very professional today. He's got his little laptop bag with him and all his papers.
Seeing a client afterwards, so there's a bag full of goodies, including a computer.
Fantastic.
And I believe we're going to talk about headlines.
Headlines.
Which headlines?
I love this first one, the 2% home loan.
Had you seen that? I think I didn't see the program, but it was advertised, I think, on a Current Affair or one of those programs a week or two ago, and there's been a lot of talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I know of the product. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, well, look, there's a lot of interest, and I think that it's probably more of a marketing thing. But just to explain briefly how it works, there's a few of these products out there. There's Mortgage Gone, there's Mortgage Down, there's even the Switzer Home Loan that has this product. And the idea is that it combines an owner-occupied loan with principal and interest payments with an investment loan with interest-only payments. And the idea is that you take the owner-occupied loan down to a very low interest rate, like around about 2%, and then offset that, so to speak, with a higher interest rate on the investment loan. So the investment loan might go up to about 6%. And so, you've got a 2% interest rate on your owner-occupied, 6% on your investment loan. And I suppose the idea of it is that you will save, you'll get actually a bigger tax deduction because your investment loan is deductible. There's a greater tax deduction on that. And so the marketing goes, you will save money on your home loan. So
I'd be interested to know what the tax department think of this particular loan.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I have a tax ruling here. So
there you go.
And I've read through the document. Look, it is subject to tax rulings. To a tax ruling, they've all got, these products have all got their own individualised tax ruling on it. The tax ruling does say, and let me just, before I look at that, I've analysed some of the numbers on some of these products, and I've done a whole lot of things. In summary, when I calculate it out, when I compare what's being offered there, if I calculate on a number of different scenarios, the overall loan repayment under one of these schemes compared to the overall loan repayment that you could get on the better
more competitive
discounted products that are out there, like it doesn't even have to be as low as this, but our lowest interest only loan, this scheme is only till 2020 anyway. So let's say 2 years. So there's 2 years with NAB, fixed interest only. I think it was 4.09%.
Yep.
Okay. So comparing that, it means that you will pay less if you go for the more discounted rates rather than going into these schemes. We've got CUA at 3.65 on a owner-occupied and all that sort of thing. So the repayments are more, okay? So it really means that if you enter into this scheme, the only reason you want to enter into it is because you're going to get a bigger tax deduction.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to depend a lot more on everyone's individual circumstances and what their marginal tax rate is and all that kind of thing. But the key thing in this tax ruling is, in summary, if I can find it here, the main thing in this 11-page document is, if I could summarise it, it says something like this, that the tax deduction that is claimed under the scheme cannot be more than the tax deduction that they would have claimed had they not entered into the scheme. Now, that's kind of leaving it a little bit...
That sounds like legal jargon,
Well,
doesn't
it is.
it?
It is.
It is, but isn't that what they always say? But what it really means is you're not allowed to derive a benefit
from this scheme.
From entering into this scheme.
So
therefore, what's the point?
Well, also, it's not technically a 2% home loan.
No.
I'd love to see
It
what
is
the
on the
ACCC
owner-occupied.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because you can't get that on its own.
Yeah, it's the combined.
I
You've
think
got to
it's
have
that
two loans together.
It's a
package. So I've seen then as a split, and there's a whole lot of stuff in here. The product is approved, so it is approved by the ATO. However, the bit that's unclear there is how
Individually
they're going to calculate the tax deduction. And I think, and I'm not a tax lawyer, it seems that that's a little bit in doubt.
Yeah.
So my advice to people is, now it could very well be, who knows how these things unfold, it's very early days. To me, it's a marketing thing. You know, the 2% home loan gets people in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really attractive, and it's tell me all about it. So certainly within the Mortgage Choice Network, there's been a lot of chatter on our forum about it, and clients, they haven't come to me, but others within our network, and people want to know all about it.
Yeah.
It's, and in terms of Mortgage Choice and other big mortgage broking brands like yours, Peter, and so on, there's a lot of research that's put into these before we put our name behind it. We are not at that point, and there's good reason for it. So I think until it becomes mainstream and we really understand how it's going to be worked out, I think that a lot of caution ought to be exercised before entering into these particular products.
Most definitely. Agree with you. 100%.
Okay, so that's our first headline.
That's our first headline. Yeah.
Oh, now the next one I do like.
You like
Class
that one?
action
Oh, I thought
planned
you'd
for the
like that
entire
one.
mortgage industry. Right, people, here's my phone number.
Let's start with a disclaimer.
Yeah. I
And
act
an
for nobody at the moment.
Well, I think there's someone else acting. I'm sorry, Catherine, but this is actually being done by law firm Chamberlain's, okay? And on behalf of mortgagedeception.com, okay? So mortgagedeception.com. I guess the thing is, and they're
What even is
representing
that?
yeah, I know, it's a classic, isn't it? You know, look, it seems to me to be coming out of the Royal Commission, where the media headline is about irresponsible lending.
Yeah.
So there is what's called responsible lending legislation that came out a few years ago under the National Consumer Credit Protection Act. And so what's coming out of the Royal Commission is that some of the banking practices haven't complied with this, and it's been irresponsible lending. So now, I don't know about you, Peter. Well, I do know about you. I'm sure you're the same as me. I think credit's been pretty tight for the last 2 years, and I think it's been pretty responsible. But there has been some elements, I guess, where things haven't been done properly. And it would certainly be a very, very small part of the banking industry, in my opinion. But it just seems that mortgagedeception.com is kind of getting on the bandwagon there, so that there is, I suppose, an opportunity for people to sue banks and mortgage brokers if they got into a mortgage product that seemed to be inappropriate.
There was one, it was backed by the state government, would be about nearly 25 years ago.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I know the one you mean.
Whereby
That was a nightmare.
where they were successful in
Yes.
a class action, and I think
Yep.
they were all moved over to Rams at that point.
That's one. I can't remember the name of it, but I do
can't
remember that one.
But
Yep,
yeah, because
yep.
it was when interest rates went up to about 18%.
Yep.
Way before my time, people. I've
Home
got
Path, I
nothing.
think it was.
It was
Something
Oh,
like
I've
that.
heard of Home Path.
I might have it.
yeah, there was also that was
something
up
like
in
that.
Queensland as well, which was one of those.
But there's a few of those. But look, it just seems to me that it's just interesting that this is where it's at. I suppose what it does for us as mortgage brokers, it's a little scary in some respects that these sort of actions can go on. And I think that I suppose my question is, what impact is all this going to have on the lending industry? Is it really going to bring about more
I think you got to be
better
careful
lending
what you wish for.
practices, or is it going to mean that it's going to become a lot harder for people to get home loans, and a lot more documentation? I'm already getting a lot of complaints from people about the increased documentation that's required.
Yep.
So I think it's probably going to come back to bite us
Yeah.
as consumers.
As consumers,
in a
that's
whole lot of ways.
to my be careful what you wish for, because I think that
yeah.
that's what people don't necessarily understand. There's not a lot of responsibility taken for your own circumstances, and there's a lot of finger pointing that goes on these days in whatever industry.
So you default on the home loan, and you blame the people who got the loan for you.
I think more so coming out of that will be, I can envisage one of the Royal Commission recommendations will be that banks go back to banking, and the financial planning, the broking arms have to go.
I think that's already starting to happen.
Yeah, it will have to, because, I think that it's a bit like, before the collapses of Lehman Brothers. You can't have the accounting firm that gives you the advice how to do it audit their own advice. It just should not work.
It's a conflict of interest. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, just quickly before we go, because we are a bit over time,
Okay.
but there's no one waiting to come in, so I'm sure you can.
I'll just make comment on this third one, which is
Yep.
another headline, and we won't worry about the fourth one. Or I'll say very quickly, the fourth one is RBA meeting this week. I think rates will be on hold. We'll
Yeah.
keep that one's done. But this other one that probably relates to our this other point as well, coming out of the Royal Commission, is that the banks cannot delegate the responsibility for verifying living expenses to the broker. So again, I think I just wanted to say from this is this living expense issue is not going away. And for banks and brokers, we're going to need to do a lot more verification of living expenses. And I just want to put it out there for our customers and our clients. Hey guys, we're going to require a lot more documentation from you in terms of statements because, and there's a lot of complaints from our clients about what we require. But this is the reason why we're asking for all these things now, because we've got to do a lot more of our own investigation and assessment before we send our loan applications to the banks.
Yeah.
Things are changing, people.
They are definitely changing.
And it's going to become a lot harder to get a loan in the future.
But it's also that cross-referencing
Yes. Yep.
because the tax office is doing the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think you need to, again, to my point before, people need to start taking a little bit more responsibility. So
absolutely.
think about
Very good point.
how you're managing your banking and your statements. And I think now that everything's done digitally, we don't think too much about, we just, we pay
that
pass.
tap
Yep.
thing.
Tap
Yep, that's right.
everything. And as an example, and this came up even just in a one of those lifestyle shows about the amount of McDonald's people spend just, when they're out and about doing their day-to-day. And it might just be that you're calling in for a Coke or, I don't know, even a coffee, but all of a sudden you've got $60 a week worth of McDonald's. And I think that tapping, Catherine, is what's making people less responsible. They're not really understanding what money. So start thinking about getting some proper budgets.
And the bank will see that.
Yeah.
And want to add that into your living expenses. So being aware of what's running through your accounts.
Yeah.
Because the banks are going to see it all.
Yeah, maybe Joe
And so
Hockey
we-
was onto something with that whole smashed avocado.
Maybe he was. Maybe it was prophetic.
That's it. Thank you, Rob, for joining us
Thank
once
you.
again. If anybody wanted to chat with you about some advice around their mortgage, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, Blaxland office 4739-9749.
Awesome. So we'll see you in 3 weeks' time because we won't be here next Monday, everybody. It is a public holiday, so hopefully we'll be doing something fun rather than having a work day. So that's for us. So we'll see you in a fortnight's time and we'll see Rob in 3 weeks from there. Have a great week, everybody.